Think of the natural world, and your mind's eye can immediately picture some truly massive things. The immense oceans that cover most of the Earth, the majestic mountains that form some of our planet's most iconic and humbling landscapes, or the sprawling sub-zero wilderness of the Arctic and Antarctica. Think of human beings in amongst all of that, or of most living things in general, and we quickly realize that really we're incredibly small. For all of their apparent power and influence, humans and most animals are physically tiny. Although, according to some ideas, that might not have always been the case. This is Unveiled, and today we're exploring the strange theory that Earth was once a planet of giants. Do you need the big questions answered? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one, and ring the bell for more thought-provoking content. First things first, we of course know that Earth certainly has hosted giant life forms in its history. The dinosaurs walked this planet for almost 200 million years, up to an extinction event widely held to be an asteroid strike that wiped them out some 66 million years ago. So many of these magnificent creatures were far bigger than any examples of life on Earth today. But the biggest of the lot is usually held to be the Argentinosaurus, which researchers believe was up to 130 feet long and may have weighed more than 100 tons. Unsurprisingly, given its name, it's thought to have lived in modern-day Argentina. And for a contemporary comparison, its size was about 15 times that of the African elephant, the largest land animal today. Naturally, we also have giant creatures that do still exist, though off-land in our waters. While we continually hear myths and legends such as that of the Loch Ness Monster or the Kraken, not even those gigantic fantastical creatures could match what we have confirmed in real life, the blue whale. This extraordinary animal can measure up to 100 feet long and weigh 200 tons. In fact, it's the largest animal known to have ever lived on Earth, and it's here with us today. So, could any theory implying that ancient Earth played host to other giants really hold its own? Could any suggestion of human-like giants ever require serious consideration? There's no doubt that these are controversial claims, but some have gone ahead and made them anyway. The general argument usually starts with the age of the dinosaurs. At that time, when everything, it seems, was bigger, it's thought that Earth's atmosphere was more oxygen-rich, too, which may have led to life taking much larger forms. This basic idea works well to explain how the dinosaurs grew to the spectacular sizes they did, before inevitably perishing as a result of the extinction event 66 million years ago. At that point, smaller mammals were able to survive and rise as they were able to better adapt to the changing conditions. In mainstream science, there's no suggestion that giant human-like creatures existed at this time, though, nor at any other time before or since. But so often, when conspiracy theories of past giants come up, here is where they begin. It isn't only the conspiracists that promote the idea, though. Another major influence is that mention of giants comes up across most of the major religions of the world, and in the stories and the legends of most major civilizations. In the Old Testament of the Bible, for example, there's mention of the Nephilim, the Anakim, and others, all of which are depicted as being a race of giants. Many of the biblical giants, then, are said to have been killed as part of the Great Flood, and that's why they no longer exist alongside us today, according to the Bible. And then, of course, there's the much-told tale of David and Goliath, another story that originates from the Bible, with Goliath's legendary size variously described as anything from being 6 feet 9 inches tall to more than 10 feet tall in some retellings. Besides religious texts, though, there are no official records to show that a man of 10 feet or more really did exist. In Greek mythology, we have regular mention of the one-eyed Cyclops. In and amongst the many medieval legends of King Arthur, there are heroic tales of giant slaying. With Norse mythology, it's said that all aspects of the world were actually made by the gods from the flesh of a spectacular giant named Ymir. In Chinese myth, there's a similar figure named Pangu. In Northern Ireland, the legend of the Giant's Causeway says that the unusual rock formation along the coast was physically put there by giants. And of course, we have countless children's fairy tales featuring giants, like the tale of Jack and the Beanstalk. We can perhaps see then why humans hold on to the idea of giants. We're taught stories all about them as children, and they often feature in traditional tales of creation or of pre-human times. But from a truly scientific perspective, all from the Cyclopses to the giant that Jack slays exist much more in fantasy than in fact. Nevertheless, even science has something to say about giants in the past, even if its version of them isn't quite so incredible. A long-extinct type of ape, Gigantopithecus, is known to have inhabited Earth until it disappeared around 300,000 years ago, at around the same time that the first modern humans were emerging. Scientists don't have a lot to go on with regard to fossil examples, because finding any remains of the Gigantopithecus is a pretty rare event, with almost all of the evidence of them amounting to preserved teeth only, found predominantly across China and parts of Southeast Asia. Even so, it's been estimated that this creature may have weighed comfortably more than 600 pounds, and that it may have stood up to 12 feet tall. It was much more like a giant gorilla than a giant human in stature, however, and it isn't generally thought to have been part of the human Homo sapiens line of evolution. Still, the Gigantopithecus occasionally makes its way into modern folklore too, as it has before been linked to the supposed existence of Bigfoot. According to mainstream conventional science, though, while Gigantopithecus did exist, Bigfoot doesn't. But really, this blurring of the boundaries between what's real and what's not is an all-too-common theme across all talk of giants, whether it's from an academic, archaeological, pseudo-archaeological, or theological point of view. And as a result, history is full of notorious hoaxes. In the modern world, we've seen various supposedly legitimate photographs published across the internet that seemingly show the excavation of giant bones or skulls. But after scrutiny, these are almost always shown to be simple fakes, manipulated images to carry on our long tradition of giant tales. Perhaps, in the distant past, people may have unearthed large fossilized bones and not realized that they had once belonged to dinosaurs or to some other ancient creature, and instead assumed that they were evidence of one-time giant people. But today, science doesn't generally draw that conclusion. Finally, though, perhaps the most bizarre theory about past giants isn't actually about human-like giants at all, but about trees. An outlandish idea that first spread across the internet in 2016, we have flat Earth theorists to thank for this one, with the proposal generally being that Earth once played host to trees that were 30 or more miles high, until some kind of cataclysmic event killed them all off millions of years ago. As a result, according to the theory, what we understand to be trees today are really just tiny shrubs by comparison. Because the trees of the past were supposedly sized more like mountains to our eyes, it's perhaps a subject for a future video, all on its own. But for now, we'll just say that it's a claim that's entirely unsupported by scientists, naturalists, geologists, by almost everyone, really. And it seems just the latest in a long line of conspiracy theories aiming to totally reshape the history of the world for reasons unknown. Ultimately, the stories and legends we tell of giants aren't likely to disappear anytime soon. But science is also increasingly confident that evidence of their actual existence isn't likely to appear anytime soon either. Over the years, there have been various theories put forward suggesting that humans were once bigger than they are now. But really, the only giant anythings we have physical evidence for are the dinosaurs. There's no doubting that the dinosaurs were here, and for a longer period of time than humans have been so far. But beyond that, talk of giants is one big fantasy. What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments. Check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.